The man clung tightly to the tree trunk, shaking the branches above him so that ants would fall onto his body. The excruciating pain of their bites made him scream out loud. Just a few days earlier, he had been sleeping on a raft when his companions suddenly shook him awake in a panic. Not knowing what was going on, the man sat up and quickly realized that their raft was about to be swept into a fast-moving gorge. He leapt up, grabbed a paddle, and started rowing toward the riverbank, but the current was far too strong for them to control anything. Within moments, they were dragged into the treacherous gorge. Almost immediately, they saw a large rock looming ahead. With no time to react, they both dropped down flat on the raft just before it slammed hard into the stone. Miraculously, the raft held together, and the two men survived the impact. But they knew they couldn't survive for long drifting like this. So, the companion, who was the stronger swimmer, decided to risk crossing the river to reach the shore and then use vines to help pull the man across. It was a dangerous move, but their only option. Somehow, the companion managed to grab onto a rock and make it safely to the bank. Just as he reached land, the man was suddenly swept off the raft by the powerful current and vanished into the raging water. Tossed and tumbled by the river, he lost all sense of time. But eventually, when the current slowed, he managed to grab hold of a rock and haul himself out, barely clinging to life. Once he had rested enough to move, he spotted a backpack floating in the river. All of his gear and supplies were inside. He knew surviving in the wilderness without them would be nearly impossible. Timing it just right, he jumped into the water and successfully retrieved the pack. With his bag slung over his shoulder, he set off in search of his companion. But after hours of searching, there was no sign of him. Exhausted and discouraged, the man sat down, wondering if his friend had simply abandoned him. Even so, he refused to give up. Pulling out a map from his pack, he began plotting a route to escape the jungle on his own. Once he was ready, he headed deeper into the woods. As night fell, he found a place to rest. He gathered some leaves, placed them between two branches, and dozed off. The next morning, he resumed his trek. At one point, he noticed a tree branch that had clearly been cut with a blade, proof that someone else had passed through recently. He shouted out and hurried forward, hoping to catch up. After walking for what felt like forever, he stumbled upon 2 eggs on the ground. Starving, he didn't hesitate. He grabbed them and drank them down immediately. Fueled by the food, he regained some strength and pressed on, eager to find the person who had cut the tree. But not long after, he came upon a chilling sight, the remains of an abandoned tribal village. Though the place felt eerie, survival was still his top priority, and he pushed forward, determined to find a way out. Days seemed to blur together as he kept walking. Then something on the ground caught his eye, a footprint. Overwhelmed with hope, he shouted again and again, praying someone nearby would hear him. But his joy was short-lived. Just beside the print, he noticed a broken eggshell, the same kind as the ones he had eaten earlier. Only then did it dawn on him, he might be walking in circles, completely lost.